Let's begin with the port operators who feel they deserve more attention so they can function appropriately. Join us. In order to tackle the spread of COVID-19 in Lagos and other parts of the country, the federal government issued a lockdown order in the FCT, Lagos and Ogun for a period of 14 days. However, people and organizations rendering essential services are exempted from the order, one of which is the seaports. This means the Ports Authority will continue to receive ships and their wares, especially those classified as essential, which makes up less than 50% of the total cargo imports. Despite the federal government guidelines which expressly states that seaports are to remain operational, a number of issues thrown up by the lockdown are beginning to affect full-fledged operations. One of such is the shutdown of financial institutions. According to the President General of the Association of Nigeria Customs License Agents, the impact of the lockdown on post-COVID-19 era might be overwhelming if certain gray areas are not resolved now.
Meaning that we are going to have a whole lot of goods coming into Nigeria without being cleared. Then again, you look at the critical aspect of all the chain, because when we talk about freight forwarding and custom brokerage, is all about chain, logistics chain. And you look at the what we call the payments of duties through banks. Payments of duties through banks have been a big problem for past week. Many of the banks actually either not opening at all or doing skeletal jobs like 1, 2, 3, 4 hours. But just on Friday, Nigerian Ports Authority MD actually gave a mandate that some of them must come to their offices on Monday. But I say this, by the time our clients, that is the importers, are opening for ends, you've not told them where and the actual banks they are supposed to open for ends. So what it means is that for end can be opened in any bank, and all the banks should be opened.
During a visit of the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Shippers Council to the ports area to ascertain other areas of challenges, the terminal operators were quick to reel out some of the impediments to a smooth running of ports operations and the possible effect this could have on the economy and the fight to curb the spread of COVID-19.
The country cannot afford the ports to be shut down. From our side, we have been operational all time, but of course we do face challenges. The main challenge is for our staff and all our contractors and all our clients to access the port area, because even if it is acknowledged by all authorities that we provide a critical service, there is no public transport available at the moment. So of course the staff and all the other stakeholders and our clients are incurring huge difficulties in coming to the port. As a result, we are operating with probably 30–40% of our staff strength, and we are also seeing very limited delivery activities in the port. And we are concerned about this, because if the port shut down for any reason, the whole country is going to be impacted. Not only the country won't receive critical drugs and medical equipment, which is highly required during these times, but even strategic factories will be affected, because they will not receive the products they need to produce and to continue to provide the service they provide. And we are concerned because all of these may have a social repercussion. We already face a very difficult financial situation. Many people are losing the job because they cannot move from where they are. And if companies are going to shut down, because they don't receive their products, their cargo. Of course, this will have a big social impact. There will be higher unemployment, and we all know the consequences of all of this.
I could say that there is still a lot of encumbrances, where some trucks, particularly trucks that are coming to the port for delivery, to take delivery, because we need them to take delivery of their cargo. Otherwise, the ports will be filled up, and when ports are filled up, the result of that is that the port ships we will not be able to discharge the ships, and we don't need that at this point. We do not need any form of congestion. We don't want ships to stay longer than it should necessarily stay in our berth, in our port. They need to be quickly discharged and go. But when we don't have them, when delivery trucks are not allowed to have access to the port, that's when they encounter any form of encumbrances, that will be counterproductive to all the things that government has put in place as regards, port operations in Nigeria.
On the issue of congested ports and bridges being used as holding bay, the Executive Vice Chairman of ENL Terminal exonerates the operators of being complicit.
It has nothing to do with us, because for us as terminal operator, the more you come to take delivery of your cargo, the better for us, because we want to be able to turn our space around. For us, space is very critical to our operation, because if you don't have this space, you can discharge the ships. When the port is full, when the spaces, stacking areas are congested, you cannot discharge the ship. And that's not the kind of image we want to create for Nigeria. We do not want that. We want ships to come, they get discharged as quickly as we should. As terminal operator, we want to offer an efficient delivery service, which we have the capacity to do. But when all these things that are supposed to support us in quickly discharging the vessels are not there, what do? It has nothing to do with the terminal operator. We don't keep people's cargo in the terminal necessarily. There's a challenge of getting trucks. There's a challenge of access to the ports, being so congested the way it is. It's been a serious challenge in the last 3 years. It has nothing to do with us.
She, however, has some advice for the relevant authorities if the issue of congestion is to be tackled.
If I am in a position to fix it, I'll fix the road as quickly as I should. I'll complete the rail line. I will encourage the badge service, because in other countries you don't see all these trucks on the road. It's only in Nigeria, and I can tell you, by the time they finish this road, how much of pressure that we are subjecting it to can it take? I hope in another 1 year we won't be back to where we are. As long as we continue to use our road as a medium of conveying this cargo, that doesn't happen anywhere in the world. A lot of them use they make use of the badge. So that we are trying to do. If you go to ENNI, you'll see us engaging the badge operators to come and take the delivery of their cargo. Those are all the things that should be encouraged.
While some of the issues are still pending, Tony Nwabunike would want to see the CBN and MPA make some concessions.
For 1 week now, everybody is supposed to be at home. Shipping companies and terminal operators are working on a very lower skeletal level. And the shipping company, most of them do not come. And the demurrages are piling up. I'll tell you, I don't think freight forwarders and custom brokers did up to 10 to 15% of their normal job every day since last week. What it means is that nothing actually worked very proper last week. So the demurrage is actually accruing. I remember vividly that I've written a letter to the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because he's a coordinator of ease of doing business in our ports. So I wrote a letter to him asking him to remove demurrages, waivers, and penalties.
The compliance monitoring visits afforded the Shippers Council boards information that would help get the port rolling in full throttle.
Port is a critical, essential service, and it has been so declared by Mr. President. Therefore, we have to monitor and supervise certain aspects to see that, there is compliance. For example, complying with port health authorities, complying with certain economic indices. And so far, so good. I think there is not optimal, but somehow some port operations. We cannot afford to close down the port. It's critical to our economy. And so we as port economic regulators are going around to see that there is complete or compliance with the federal government directives. Nigerian Shippers Council has made provisions, therefore, for buses to bring critical stakeholders, including freight forwarders, to the ports so that they will operate. We have a semblance of port running. We cannot afford to close down the port. We have also talked with the commercial banks. Some of them are now opening from tomorrow their branches in Apapa for processing of port custom duty, power, from M and other services. And I'm happy with the commercial banks that have cooperated so far. I think this will keep the port running, and it's critical. Even the revenue for the government is critical. We cannot shut down production, manufacturing, and all the things come from the port. Even to fight the virus itself, we need the port to bring critical medicines and other things.
While the leadership of the Maritime Workers Union acknowledges an improvement in ports activities, it insists that members must be accorded the right incentives and environment to keep working.
There are a lot of incentives that are attached to what is on ground now, like a transport incentive, food incentive, food allowance, and so many things. I think the terminal operators, through the employers, they've all complied. And that is why you can see that the operation is inside the port is going on as it's being directed by His Excellency, the President of this country.
A press release by the Nigerian Port Authority assures of every arrangement to keep the ports running. It also adds that it has put in place procedures that will guarantee the well-being and safety of all stakeholders. The coming days will unfold how well these plans have been conceived, perfected, and implemented.